do that. So we're going to go live on Facebook. So we'll start behaving in a minute. And
you just tell me when you want me to jump in.
Then we can
Lucia. Jerry?
Alistair, I want you on the screen, buddy.
We have a guest from Tel Aviv, guys.
Not sharing an event.
Oh, what I'll do is I'll connect to my laptop for this part.
Yes, please.
For the introduction. Fair point. But yeah, I'm in a household sharing bandwidth, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But that's right, I'll get on to that for the introduction on the laptop. Fair point. Okay. Now hopefully I don't boot you out, Jerry.
It seems to recover even if you do.
Oh, it does. Well, if I spot it, I'll log out immediately.
Hey, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yes. I sent the, I think I sent
someone's double.
No, that was me. That was me. So I've turned the other one off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
Right.
I sent the link to a friend of mine in the States.
Yep.
So does he has to go through the whole registration procedure?
No, there's no registration. You can just jump on.
Okay, well, send him the number so he's going to come on.
All right, I'm going to go live. So if everyone else
David.
if everyone else
everybody
goes on mute.
For those of us that know what a power wash is, I'm ready. I'm waiting. Ready? 1.
I'm going
2,
live.
3.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well. All right. So am I on, Jerry?
We are live on Facebook. Alistair, go for it.
All right. Fantastic. So we are all for one and one for all. And we welcome all of these shiny, happy faces tonight. Wonderful to see you all. I've made a special appearance. Oh, look at that. And then the red wiggle comes on. So I have made a special appearance to introduce our presenter for tonight. So our presenter for tonight is David Belfer, who's otherwise known as Bear Wolf. Many of us that went through a jungle experience with him many years ago know him as that. But David, I've known him now for 9 years. Can you believe it? And he goes through life, well, by day, hairdresser, and by night, many, many other things. But what I've experienced with David is he really has a special way. Thanks for muting and unmuting me, Jerry. He has a special way of facilitating a group. There's a special way of introducing, what would you call it? Introducing us to new ways of being and to new experiences. So we've had many experiences with David on the music and so many other things to connect us and to have us out of our comfort zone and in a new space and in a really interesting space. So tonight, I'm really excited about tonight because Annie made it sound so cool last week and because I know how well David does these things. So David is going to talk about and maybe even take us through the hop on honor. Is that it?
Close enough. We'll go through that after.
Close enough. So of course he's going to talk about himself and some other things, but that is a Hawaiian ritual for forgiveness. That again is a beautiful thing. So David, welcome, and we look forward to this. Take it away, please.
Thank you, Alistair. Hi, everybody. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here tonight with you all. I'm seeing faces that I haven't seen for a long time. Harsha, I love your beard. It looks amazing, my friend. Achille, I haven't seen you since 3 years ago in Phoenix, Hawaii. Annie, I love you. Mindy, I was with you last night. Alistair and I were together this afternoon. So I feel very, very excited that we're all together here. Lucia and Sandra and Terry, if I got that right. I'm very, very glad to be part of this group and to have been invited to come on tonight. Annie challenged Alistair, I think, or Alistair challenged me through Annie. It's an interesting thing how things occur. And when we get the opportunity, how many of you have ever actually had somebody challenge you and you weren't even there? Raise your hand up for me. So if you've ever been challenged and you didn't even know it was happening,
Yes.
all of a sudden somebody calls you later on and says, hey, guess what? We've dobbed you in to do something. And now that can be really scary. How many people have ever been scared by somebody that's come up and actually said to them, hey, you've got to do this? Just pop your hand up. This is going to be an interactive thing if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to join in because it makes it more fun and easier for me to be able to keep you guys going. Now, my screen has changed. I'm actually going to go back to the full screen of everybody. That's better for me because I can see everybody's reactions if that's okay. So with regard to that, if anybody wants to actually say anything, pop your hand up and just ask the question. Unmute yourself. You guys are going to be responsible for yourselves tonight, if that's okay. Just because there's going to be questions that I'm going to be throwing out to you, and I'd love for you to be able to answer me because it makes it much more interesting than talking to myself. How many of you like talking to yourself on a regular basis?
All
Excellent.
the time.
All the time. And how many of you actually have lots of voices playing around in your head? I've got a whole choir in my head, a whole choir. And so there's hundreds of people up there on a regular basis. But one of the things about tonight is we're going to talk about how you can actually make that quiet. How many of you would like to be able to quieten your mind? Yeah, it's a very, very joyous thing to be able to do. I'll tell a story about quietening your mind a bit later on. I think Annie may have shared it with you in the past. Maybe not. But with your permission, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I have what I want to share. Okay. From the beginning. Can you all see my screen? I can't see any of you now.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
You can see my screen, but I can't see any of you. So
no, we will disappear.
You will disappear. So with regard to that, I'll jump in and out of the screen sharing. But first thing that I'd love to do is set an intention. When we look at the concept of setting an intention, look, how do I stop that share? There it is there. Setting an intention. Every time I go in to actually do a program or every time I go in to have a meeting with an individual person, I have an intention for myself and for that person. It's an outcome, something that you may want for yourself. So Bridget and I, my wife and I actually do things with candles all the time. So we will light a candle. It's an intention candle. And we'll do that before we do yoga. We'll do that before we, well, you know, those other things that couples like to do. We often do that then as well, if you know what I mean. Have dinner. That's what I'm talking about, just to be clear here. So if you have something like that, or I'll just get you to close your eyes if you would, just for about 10 seconds and actually have a think to yourself very quickly about what it is that you may want for this evening. I don't know if you can see that. That's my intention for tonight, is to actually be able to introduce you to the Ho'oponopono. If you have heard about it and you know anything about it, that would be wonderful, because I'd love to have your experience shared with us as well. Now, who wants to share what their intention may be for the evening? Would anyone like to share? Just unmute yourself and share. Annie?
I'm happy to.
Yeah, half a second, Alistair. And I saw Annie's hand first. So Annie, after you.
I just put it out there that you're going to have an awesome session tonight.
Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. Mindy, your hand went up before Alistair's voice as well. So is there anything you want to share?
Sure. I wanted to see two things. One, I want to have fun, meet other people. Mm-hmm. And two, I wanted to see how you facilitate a room.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Alistair, you said you wanted to share something as well. So what's that, my friend?
Yeah, what I got with my eyes closed there was perhaps tonight I can let something go and create a space.
Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. Now, I have one request that I have for both you and Harsha. I would really love to be able to see you guys on the screen, just because it fulfills a circle for me. It completes the circle, and it means that I know that you're present with me. So if that's okay, I'd love you to do that. I'll give you 10 seconds to do that. If you don't, I might kick you off. How's
David,
that sound?
I might kick myself off because I'm sharing this link and I'm not very present. So I'm just doing some work on the background.
Ash is our back-end sharer.
Ash is our back-end sharer.
Yeah, so I will probably be disturbing the circle if I stay in it.
Okay, no, I'm not asked. Well, I want you there, mate, because there's something for you to actually get then. If you can't be here, you're obviously meant to be here. But Alistair, I'd love to see your face. It's just some of the things that I do with my circles. I like to try and have those present so I can see it. So I know that you are my friend, but it's just fulfilling for my request, if you would.
I'll give it a go and see how I go.
Thank you, my friend. So with regard to that, I'm just going to come back onto my screen again. So a little bit about me. You guys don't really know me at all, but I'd like to introduce myself to you. There's been the question about what's Metamorphosis Global Academy. Metamorphosis is something that I live by every day. It's a concept of change, and it's the concept of growing from a smaller thing to a bigger thing. How many of you actually believe that you've got something, a bigger person inside of you? I can't see your hands going up, but I'm imagining that they are. That there's a bigger person inside of you that you want to be able to achieve, and to achieve for your friends, for your family, for your community as well. So really, when I come to this page, thank you, Lucia. When I come to this page, I talk about who is your family. So my family is obviously my wife. I've got 2 beautiful children. But when you talk about tribe, that's who your immediate tribe is. Who's your surrounding people around that, being your immediate family, being your closest friends as well. And who are your people? They might be the people that you're actually working with, the people that are your clients, the people that come to you for advice, the people that you help. They're your people. They're also the people that help you. And then it goes further to who's your nation? Where are you from? On this screen alone, we've got people, I think, Lucia, you must be from Italy or something like that with a name like Lucia. I know that Annie's from Romania as a child. I know that Achille, I think you're an American, and Mindy, I know you are. And so we're from all over the place. So who's your world? It's where's your world coming from? And currently, I think that we've all been experiencing a new world where everyone actually gets together around the world. How many of you have been on hundreds of Zoom calls in the last 6 weeks? How many of you have become Zombies? How many of you feel that you're a zombie? All right, I'm a zombie. Show me what a zombie looks like, everybody. I want to see your zombie faces. Lucia, that's a great face. Achille, oh, there's Achilles' zombie face. He says, don't fuck with me, man. I'm a zombie. Alistair, I know your zombie face. So when we've got our zombie faces on, it's actually a time to be able to shake it off, because tonight's going to be a little bit different, and it's about shaking it off. Okay, the Ho'oponopono is a healing process. It's a tool. It's an ancient Hawaiian tool, as it said in the actual introduction, and it was created actually hundreds of years ago, but it was actually popularized in the early 1900s, believe it or not, by a salon owner. She had a spa. She had a couple of spas that she was in the heartland of Hawaii, in the major hotels, and she was introducing people to the cleansing aspects. The cleansing of what? Who knows what the Ho'opono actually, what it actually cleanses for you? The next question I have before that is, who knows what the Ho'oponopono actually is?
Is it a forgiveness thing?
It is a forgiveness thing. Thank you. Who else knows what it could be?
I don't know what it is, but I have seen people like Deepak Chopra and people like him that actually use it. Yeah.
Yep, thank you, Lucia. That's fantastic. It is something that is actually used quite openly now within personal development fields.
It's a prayer.
Now, it's a prayer. It is partly a prayer. Yes, that's right, Annie. Anyone else got anything else that they want to share? They're all correct. Okay. What I'm going to tell you is that it is a prayer. It is something that has been designed to clear the rifts in families. It was something that was originally designed to bring families together so they could clear the space, so they could clean the space. How many of you have ever had family where you've had dramas within your family? Put up your hands if you haven't put them up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Harsha, I saw 2 hands go up. And Luke, I haven't seen you. Are you able to get online as well, my friend? It would be nice to see your face. With regard to that, it was actually created to be able to clear the rifts within family, to clear the unforeseen things, to clear things that were needed to be disagreements that needed to be cleared up. Now, they can be small, but what happens when small things don't get cleared up? How many of you have pets in your house? How many of you have a dog? How many of you have a hairy dog? I've got a golden retriever, Mickey. He's 16 years old nearly, and I tell you what, we say that we've got 2 golden retrievers because the amount of hair that he leaves behind him everywhere. Has anyone ever experienced that? And it just sort of piles up in the corner, and it blows into a corner. It looks like another dog. And that's what happens with things that are not cleared. That happens with things that are not forgiven. We think that they're shoved under the rug. Has anyone got any family or friends that we know that shove things under the rug? What happens to those people? It can cause all sorts of things, illness, disease, etc. There's many different areas where it can go from that. So what I'd love you to do, if we're thinking that one of the main definitions of the Ho'oponopono is that it's actually the process of making right. It's a process of forgiveness. Now, do any of you guys have your mobile phone in front of you?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I'd love you to actually get onto your phone and look up the definition of the word forgive or forgiveness. Okay, Lucia, do you want to share that with us? Unmute yourself.
Okay, so forgiveness is the release of resentment or anger. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. One doesn't have to return to the same relationship or accept the same harmful behaviours from an offender. Forgiveness is vitally important for the mental health of those who have been victimised.
There you go, thank you. Who else found that same thing, that same definition? That's the main definition that comes up for everyone. However, it is more than that, because it's the way where we can go in. The actual words mean to put right or to put back into order, to correct, it's a correction. It's to revise, it's to adjust, it's to amend, it's to regulate, it's to arrange, it's to tidy up. It's all of these different things. Were any of those adjectives in that definition? No. So it's a lot more than what just forgiveness is, but it is a forgiveness thing. So let me just share my screen again, if I may. So that's the family as such. So the ancient Hawaiian, what is the Ho'oponopono? It's an ancient healing process originated to make things right, to heal broken relationships within families, communities, nature and beyond. Now, what do you think I mean by beyond? Just unmute yourselves and share. What's beyond? Does anyone have any idea what?
Into infinity.
Into infinity, thank you. Yes, infinity and beyond. Who was that?
Yes.
Buzz Lightyear.
Lightyear.
Yeah, not close, not Buzz tonight. So thank you for that. I don't know who answered that. Who else has an idea of what beyond may be?
New possibilities, undiscovered, unexplored, unexperienced possibilities.
Excellent. Thank you, Alistair. That's another aspect of it. I'm going to help you out here.
Afterlife.
What about Great Spirit? Now, Great Spirit is what it means by that, because often many people are pissed off with the government, their family, their brothers, their staff, their downliners, their upliners, their sideliners, their backliners. They're people that hurt them in school and everyone else that you can well imagine. But when it gets to the top, a lot of people are actually pissed off with God. Has anyone had that experience in their life where they've been pissed off with God? I know I have. All right. And if you haven't, that's fantastic. I'm the son of a minister.
Huh?
All right. So are you the son of a minister too, Achille? All right. I think my dad being the rabbi and your dad being the pastor, is he? Or there you go. We come from similar lines, my friend. And often you'll see the really pissed off reverend son. That'll go out and become the rebel. How many of you have had a rebellious aspect of your life? Pop up your hand. Alistair, you need to put up 2 hands.
Alistair needs to put up 2 hands.
I see, Jerry had the same thought there for me. Very good. So with regard
to
pardon,
she's a
Annie needs to put up her feet as well. So that's a cool thing. So I'm just going back to my screen again. That one there. So with regard to being pissed off with the top, there's nowhere to go after that except for one direction. And as Lucia shared, it's also the concept of being able to forgive. But the literal meaning is to make right. And so when the rifts that are there, if you can't clear them up, it creates other things that are going to be able to, or to make interesting changes for you within your life. Now, what's happened there? My screen stopped changing again. I might have to stop using that because I'm not very good at doing that with the screen share. But I'll give it another crack if that's okay. Thank you for your patience with me. So from this current slide. So why the Ho'oponopono is the next thing. So it's to clean the space to allow healing to happen. How many of you actually experienced that if you've got the concept of something that has gone wrong and it consumes you, if it's consuming to you, do you have any space to allow other things to occur in your life?
No.
It doesn't. So whether it be something where you're blaming somebody or you're feeling the victim, playing the victim, it doesn't allow you to go through and be able to create space to allow other good things to come in. So it's there to correct, restore, and to maintain the good relationships through the simple and yet powerful process. Who do you think the most important relationship would be with? Anyone just share it out.
With me, with myself.
Thank you. Who was that?
Lucia.
Thank you, Lucia. That's exactly it. Because this is a process that's not actually done to others. We may actually be blaming somebody. We might be justifying that this happened, etc. But it's a concept of doing it through others, for others. And the way that we do that is by going inwards. It's an inward process. It's a self-reflection process. I was introduced to the Ho'oponopono it's 27 years ago. Bridget and I had done a program when we were 24 called Money and You. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of that program. Thank you. So with Money and You, it was a program that was actually run by my mentor, Blair Singer. He was the presenter with Robert Kiyosaki. They were the 2 presenters of that program way back when. And I was very, very honored to be challenged by my wife. She wasn't my wife yet, but she'd done the program in 1992 in November. And she said to me, we were getting married in 1993. She said to me, if you don't actually do this program, I'm not marrying you. That's called a line in the sand. I jumped that line and I went and did the program, and it created an ongoing effect of change that is still going to today. It was an introduction to a love of growth, a love of learning that I already had. But it was something that had given me tools and had given me a concept of being able to share through accelerated learning to the thousands of people that I've shared and taught and facilitated over the years since then. So I'm forever grateful for Bridget drawing the line in the sand that day. How many of you have had your partner draw a line in the sand that you didn't want to cross? No, that's fantastic. How many of you have had a partner draw the line in the sand that they wanted you to cross, but you knew you shouldn't cross? Has anyone ever been challenged to that degree? So these are all the different sorts of things that can occur. Now, the Ho'oponopono, coming back to that, was something that I was introduced to by a therapist at that time. She was doing something called timeline therapy, which is an NLP practitioner's process. I hated it. I hated timeline because I'm not, I'm a hairdresser by trade. So you'd think that I'm a visual person. But when it came to the visual aspects of timeline, I couldn't get it. I couldn't go all the way back and go back and keep on going back to your 13 generations behind and see the thing where you've found your problem, go down there, cut it and disappear again, watch it fly away. It didn't work for me. For other people, it does. That's great. But then New Year's Eve of 1993, she introduced me to the Ho'oponopono. And it was a scenario where it was for me to go in and to forgive people, for people that had done me wrong, for people that I had done wrong to as well. So it's a two-way thing. This is my wife now. Lucky she's just come on board after I've spoken about her. This is Bridget, everybody. Say hi, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
So
Hi, everybody.
we were introduced to the Ho'oponopono that night, and it was funny because I was in the lounge room crying, lying on the floor, and Bridget was in the bedroom doing the same thing. And I don't remember if we actually connected that night or not, but I know that things were very, very different, because the releasing is where change will come for me. So just going back to share my screen again, if that's okay. Share. Okay. So it's done by going inwards. So what's the process of the Ho'oponopono? There's 4 steps of awakening. How many steps are there? Put up your hand. 4, thank you. So the first step is something which is actually called victimhood. Now this was created, this was information that was shared. Who's heard of a guy called Joe Vitale? Has anyone ever heard of Dr. Joe Vitale? Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is something that he'd actually created through his awakening process. And he says that most people live their lives in quiet desperation. Has anyone, do you know anyone that's desperate? Do you know anyone that's quietly desperate? Who can explain what quietly desperate actually is? Who wants to share? Yes, Lucia. Unmute yourself.
I have a younger brother who is having his birthday on Monday, and he's been married, and he's been on his own now for, it would be 25 years, maybe even 30 years. And and he is desperately wants to be in a relationship, but he's a quiet giant. You know, he's a big guy, and you can see the desperation on him written all over him, and he just can't. He's so hurt from his. He was married to a. Do you want me just to briefly tell you what happened?
Sure.
Yeah. He was married, 2 little kids, and his wife left him for a woman.
Okay.
Okay, and this wound has like in his words, you know, he's wounded. He's you know, he's just he just can't move forward from what he sees was happened to him. Yeah, and even though it's 30 years ago and the kids have grown up and they've got husbands and kids of their own, but he's desperate for a relationship. Yeah.
Thank you. So that's become his story.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we find people that end up within that, it's a spiral that goes around and around and around, and it can take them to the absolute depth of hell.
Yeah.
Until they can actually find something to assist them to get out. And at that point in time, the victim is a person that's got incessant struggle. They're constantly blaming others for their situation where they're at. And I hope you don't mind, I'm reading some of my notes that I've written. And they're always saying, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. So, you know, COVID-19, who's been complaining about, you know, Achille in America? I've got my heart going out for you and for everyone in your community and in your country. Because, man, it's fucked. Sorry to say, it is absolutely horrendous what's going on.
Just to kind of give you some background, it's not like the sky's not falling. It's not, right? Where I live, well, I stay in my apartment all the time. I don't like a whole bunch of people except for like a small group. I mean, you remember Phoenix, right? So, but it's not as bad as you think. You're just seeing snapshots of certain areas where people really should find Ho'oponopono, because it's all right. So somebody died. People are dying every day. Just because you saw it on the news does not give you an excuse to behave as if you have no manners whatsoever.
I agree. And I also understand and agree with you about the fact that there's a lot of false news out there. How many of you would agree that there's a lot of false news happening?
Oh, yes.
Right. And so that's horrendous, because that is part of the machine that keeps people scared and in fear. However, as you said, they need a healing process. And this is something that we are being given, and something that is for us to share, to be able to take out and to actually heal the world. But healing starts where?
Within.
Everyone take your finger and stick it on your heart. Healing starts right here, starts within. So once you've actually been able to awaken yourself and you realize that you're within that position, the next step that you're going to go to is to something called empowerment. Now, the words that you're going to use when you're in your victimhood is actually the words, I'm sorry. Say it back to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's right.
I'm sorry.
Empowerment is when we actually start to become empowered in ourselves. Now, half of the fact that you've gone off and actually said to somebody, you know what, I'm sorry for what I've done. Or you say it to yourself, I'm sorry for not getting up and going to the gym today. I'm sorry for eating that piece of dark 90% chocolate. No, I'm not. I love that. Whatever it will be. So when you start to do that, you start to actually empower yourself as well. And you start to empower others, because it's giving them the concept of choice. And if your intention is to go out and actually move forward, you're no longer stuck. And so the empowerment saying is, I'm sorry. The next thing is to actually say, please forgive me. Say it back to me. You don't have to unmute for that. Just say it to me. I can see your lips moving. Please forgive me. The next step is something which is called surrender. Now, surrender is when you actually realize that what you're doing has changed your position. Thank you for that. Mindy, I'm not up to that yet. I appreciate that. So when you actually come out, you've taken your power of your intention, but you've actually surrendered to the process. And you're doing this internally. There's still something that can get in the way, though. And that is actually something that's outside of you. How many of you believe that there is something bigger than you that's outside of you? Whether it be God, Great Spirit, Buddha, your demons, whatever they'll be, there is something that could be outside of you. So sometimes we need to go through a process of actually surrendering to that. It could be an ex-partner. It could be anything like that. But allowing that person to come through and allowing you to be able to put your reflection onto them, because you're doing this internally. You have to be able to do that for yourself first, to then be able to allow them to go through. Now, in the definition before, we actually spoke about you don't have to forget, but forgiving is one of the most important aspects of it. I'm a grandchild of the Holocaust, right? And so there's lots and lots of forgiveness that's had to happen within my family and within families to be able to go through and produce afterwards and to create massive amounts of love, growth, protection, health, which is one of the things that's occurred from that sort of a thing, from the surrender and allowing things to occur to then make you strong, to be able to grow from there. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Does anyone have anything that they want to share with that? Anyone, you can just pop up your hand if you do. No? Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen again so I can catch up with myself. So there was, I'm sorry. The second sentence was, please forgive me, with empowerment. Surrendering. The line is, thank you. Unmute yourselves, guys, and tell me what the word is.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the third sentence. Everyone say it together on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Very powerful. Because that's when you're actually saying thank you to yourself. Thank you to the people that you're forgiving or that have forgiven you. And also, you're thanking something that's greater than you for allowing you to actually go through the process. Now, the fourth element is enlightenment. This is the one that actually gets me every time I go here. I'm just going to stop the share again. When we look at the concept of enlightenment, what does that mean to you? Anyone, share what the concept of enlightenment is for you.
Greater awareness.
Thank you. Anyone else? Greater awareness is a great thing.
I think that word beyond comes back to me, you know, seeing beyond the possibilities of everything.
Thank you, Jerry. Fantastic. Akili, what does enlightenment mean to you?
It's an openness, I think. You know, it's kind of it's being able to let go, right? Funny story.
Yeah.
Annie actually asked me did I know anything about Ho'oponopono, and I'm like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. But probably for the past month and a half, 2 months, instead of, I can be pretty critical of just from being in the military, and there's a lot, you know, I've been institutionalized in a lot of different ways, but what I find myself doing now is using one of the terms, saying I love you or thank you, instead of you're a bloody idiot. I mean, like, you're an idiot, you're a moron. How about you unfuck yourself? Like, those are my normal responses to a lot of people, just because it's, you know, I've been working at a manufacturing plant for the past 2 years. Now I don't do it.
Fantastic. Everyone, I want you to give Akili a clap. Just one clap, just like this. All right, we'll practice that again. Akili, you go like this, put your hands out wide. You're going to get the clap. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now, the reason that I want to do that is because when I met Akili, I saw that angry man a few years ago. It was in the process of changing then, and you're a very different energy now. And I love that, and I just want to acknowledge that. So, from my heart, man. Now, with regard to the concept of enlightenment, this is where I asked the question before, who wants to be able to silence their mind? This is where, for me, this is where I get to oneness. And it's oneness with myself, but also oneness with something that's bigger and outside of me. I don't call it God, I call a great spirit. It's a connectedness that's actually there with everything. And it's a concept of presence as well. It allows me to become very, very present. How many of you have actually had the pleasure of experiencing nothing going on in your head? It's a really, really beautiful thing. And it doesn't happen all the time. It's a process. It's something that you have to work towards. It's something that you need to actually work on every single day. How many of you do exercise every day? I don't. How many of you want to do exercise every day? I do, but I don't. So it comes down to 3 words. Number 1 is discipline. Number 2, I've written them down somewhere, commitment. And number 3 is it takes time. So what are the 3 things?
Discipline, commitment, and time.
Discipline, commitment, and time. Write those down. Write them down big. Because it's a matter of finding those and making those things important to you. Because how many of you feel that you'd be able to do a lot more if you're truly present all the time? Yeah. So just share, I don't know what you do for a living except for Lucia. I know what you do because you shared with us last couple of weeks ago. Mindy, I think I know what you do. Alistair, I've got no idea what you do. Keely said he's working in some a factory nowadays. Where do you feel that if you're able to be 100% present, actually, let's make it 1,000% present, what do you think you would be able to achieve tomorrow? Just share it out. What do you think you'd be able to achieve?
$10,000 day.
Awesome. Give her a clap. 1, 2, 3. Great. Who else has something that they want to share?
So for me,
yeah, Sandra, what?
$10,000 a day would be ace.
Awesome. Let's give Sandra a clap as well.
It's not that. It's not that.
All right. What is it for you?
It's just clarity. Just some space to be clear. That's it for me right now. The money would be nice, but just to be clear and calm. That's it. And I reckon if I did discipline, commitment, and time, it'd be that.
Fantastic. Who else would like to be clear and calm? Yeah? All right, everybody, let's give Sandra a clap. 1, 2, 3. Did you get it? You got it? Excellent. Who else wants to share what they would like? Yes, Alistair. Yes,
I think I'm on delay.
You are. What is it?
So I have found that with that heightened presence comes like in relationships, there's a whole dimension that opens up that wasn't there or that I wasn't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always so much more fulfilling for both people in the relationship, me and the other person. Like it's completely different to the normal everyday kind of low level, low intensity, low presence communication and interaction.
Thank you, Alistair. So how many of you love to be more present with your partners and achieve what you're going to achieve with that? Is that what you were sharing, Alistair? I was getting a bit lost with the delay. All right, everybody, let's give Alistair the clap. 1, 2, 3.
Not that clap, I hope.
No. Look, that's my thing. It's good to be able to share the clap, but not share the clap. All right, we'll leave that alone. All right, so I mentioned earlier on the concept of our little voices and how I've got thousands in my head. I know Alistair's got thousands in his, and many of us have many of them. But imagine if when you're present, you're able to quieten all of those voices down and have a really good conversation with them. And sometimes, my mother is my biggest voice in my head. All right, she's the biggest voice in my head. I hear her all the time. And I also have 2 other people, which are my 2 grandfathers. They're not in my head, they're on my shoulders. And I actually call this one Reason because it's close to my heart. And I call this grandfather, what's the opposite of reason?
Unreasonable.
It rhymes with reason, treason.
Treason.
So I've got reason and treason on my shoulders. Wow. One grandfather, I feel his presence all the time. And I duck because he comes to give me a hit over the back of the head when I'm doing something wrong. Have any of you had that experience where you feel the wind go over your head and you know it was somebody giving you a message?
I just thought it was a magpie the other day.
You thought it was a magpie?
Maybe it was something else.
Maybe it was, Jerry. For me, I can only talk from my experience here. That's what I get when I'm present. And I hear them the most. And they're the people that I love. I hear them the most when I'm present. So in saying that, all of those things that we've got running in our head, all of those things that we've got running in our heart and in our body, are things that we can actually release through utilizing something called the Ho'oponopono. How many of you would like to experience the Ho'oponopono now for yourselves? Yeah? Excellent. So there are 4 sentences within this prayer. We've been through them all, but I'm going to share them again. The first one is, I'm sorry. The second is, please forgive me. The third, thank you. And the fourth, Akila, you mentioned it before. What was it?
I love you.
I love you. So the first one is, say them back with me. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Please
Forgive me.
forgive me. The third one is,
Thank you.
and the fourth is,
I
I
love you.
love you.
I love you. Now the Ho'oponopono is actually a mantra.
Hmm.
It's a mantra.
Okay.
And you can use that over and over and over again. My friend Mindy shared something with me called a big zipper last night. I've renamed it the big zipper, which is something where you can actually control. That's it, where you can actually control if you're walking into a space that is not giving you the love that you need, or where you feel as though you could be threatened, or you, and I'm not talking about physically, even though it could be that as well, but it's your spirit is feeling that way. What you do is everyone grab your fingers like this as though you're holding onto a zip. Hold it. Alistair, you too. I can't see your zipper in front of my face. What I want you to do is I want you to take that down to your base chakra. Do you know where your base chakra is?
Yeah.
I want you to put it down there.
Mm.
I know, Achilles, it's all right. What I want you to do then is I want you to raise it up and close that zip and take it all the way over your head to the back of your neck and let it go. What you've just done is you've just cocooned yourself. You've just created a level of, let's call it warmth, a level of self-love, a level of protection that's going to look after you until you can get out of that situation and unzip it and open it up again. It's like being in metamorphosis. It's like being in a cocoon and then releasing yourself again. How's that for a visual, Mindy? So when you actually do that, it's a self-protection. How many of you could think of a situation where you may need to do that? We all work with clients. How many of you may have a client that absolutely sucks your energy? Has anyone ever had a client like that?
Yeah. Oh.
Or a customer like that?
Mm-hmm.
Or a patient like that, Sandra?
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, great. So they're the sort of people that you may go and use that for. But the concept is when you go and you do the Ho'oponopono, you have to think that you're looking in a mirror. Because if somebody is doing something like that and it's triggering you, what's the word? Triggering you. Everyone do this. Put your gun up in front of you. Go bang. Go bang. It's triggering you. It's giving you a trigger. It's setting you off. It's your fault. It's not their fault. And the concept is, the Ho'oponopono is you work on you. You don't work on them. You work on you. You clean you. And in response to that, the things around you will become clean. It's a cleaning process. What is it? Say it back to me. It's a cleaning process.
Cleaning process.
You clean yourself. You're not cleaning them, you're cleaning yourself. Because when you become clean, the world around you becomes clean. But it takes those 3 things. It takes your commitment, it takes your discipline, and it takes time. It won't happen all the time. but the more that you practice. What do they say about practice? If you keep on practice, you become bullshit. Bullshit. That's the biggest load of crock of shit you've ever heard. You don't become perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice just makes shitty practice, in my opinion. Yes, Mindy. You want to say something?
Can I share something that I read yesterday, David?
Yes, please.
It has to do just with that. They talked about training. They're talking about personal development training. You're training yourself. What they said is training is like sweeping the floor. Just because you swept up and picked up the dirt that there's now doesn't mean your floor is not going to get dirty again. So it's the same thing with personal development. You can do, but you know, you're always going to have to straighten up, tidy up a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's give Mindy the clap. She hasn't had a clap yet. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you for sharing that. I agree. That is actually right. We already mentioned about sweeping the floor, and you know, I spoke about our dog Mickey, whose hair just keeps on bundling up into the corner, so we think we've got an extra dog in the corner. So, you know, when we look at that and you start to create the space by quietening your own mind and starting to love what the projection is. You know, I work in mirrors every single day. You know, that's my job. Every day I look at people, but I look at the clients in the mirror as they see themselves, because I'm working behind them. I get the privilege of seeing them front on, like we all see everybody, but I also get to see them from behind, looking as they see themselves. And I see their stuff. I see their good stuff, and I see their sad stuff, and I see their joy, and I see their hurt, and I see their pain, and I see their jubilation. Because it's the times like that where guess what I'm doing when I'm behind them in the chair?
You make them laugh.
I'm doing the Ho'oponopono. I've got it playing in the background in the salon all day. I have it on my phone playing in the background all day. It can be silent because it's just an energy. But if that's clearing in the background, how many of you could have your phone playing a song? You know, you can get 24-hour playing versions of the Ho'oponopono on YouTube. Did you know that? Imagine if you've got shit going on in your workplace, or you want to have just a really calm and relaxing time, Sandra, you want to just chill out, and you've got that playing silently in the background. Who believes in energy? Who believes that you can create your own energy, be it positive or negative? So if you've got the opportunity to make a change and make it positive, why wouldn't you?
So David, what's playing in the background? Have you got like, do you mean, is it a music? Is it a instrumental?
Yep.
Oh. Okay.
Will you forgive me? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
I have that playing all day because it allows me to be able to heal myself through healing others. How many of you actually believe that you're a healer in what you do every day? You know, Jerry, when you do your 40-minute videos that nobody can do, and they're going to share that with 10,000 hairdressers in Australia this weekend, you've healed them. Sandra, all of the patients, you've healed them. Lucia, you fix people's skin. You make them feel beautiful every day. You've healed them. You didn't put up your hand. You're a healer. That's what I see. And I see that in every single person. Because that allows me to be able to see them. Harsha, you do it every day as well with the people that you help online and the people that you help in Canberra and wherever else you're helping. By sharing this tonight with thousands of people, they're actually healing. And that's what the world needs now. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. The funniest thing is that they actually play that in those toilet cubicles. Have you seen that? When the door's shut, that song comes on. I don't understand that. Have you ever seen that or experienced that? So
I love that song, but I also had "Heal the World" by Michael Jackson in my head.
did you?
Yeah.
There you go. I love that one as well.
Yeah, I love that song.
So I just want to share my screen again, if I can, just for a couple of moments. So we've got to the concept of those 4 lines. I asked if any of you want to actually have an experience of it. And what I'd like to do is the song that I was actually just playing on my phone. This is it. It's a woman by the name of Karen Ducker. It's a very 80s style, isn't it? Can you hear that from where you guys are?
I'm sorry.
It's a really hard
Please
song.
forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Sorry. Please play again.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
But we're responsible for that in some way.
Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Mahalo. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Mahalo. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Thinking about people
I'm
that you know you've done wrong by.
Please forgive me.
Say you've never done that. Now,
Thank you.
whenever it was in your life,
I love
you give me any or not.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. So sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Okay. So when we actually she's still playing in the background. Can you hear me over the song? Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, when you're
Okay.
sharing the audio through the screen share, the audio comes through amazing, but you don't. So
Yeah, I've turned my voices down as well, my sound down as well, so I can't actually hear you now. So hang on half a second. I'm going to stop the song from playing. Okay. So as you can see, it's just something that flows on and on and on, and it goes from, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And if you feel that you need to say something more, like Killy was saying before, he says, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't know if Annie has shared with you about one of our mentors, one of our coaches. His name is Mac. What's Mac's surname? I've just had a mental block. Mac
Newton.
Thank you. Mac Newton. And so Mac has a thing where he's a coach that created championship teams in baseball, in football, American football, in basketball. He's an 8th Dan Taekwondo master, which is the only one in North America. And he's a phenomenal man, except what he does is he mainly works on one's mindset, but he gets you to work on you first. And one of his mantras is, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it's not him saying it to you, it's you saying it to you. I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And you go on with that. And so it's a similar sort of a thing, but this one is actually working on other people. It's cleaning other people through cleaning yourself. So with regard to the Ho'oponopono, it's something that you can do all the time. It's something that you can have running in the background all the time for yourself. And the masters of it do that. And they actually just walk around cleaning. It's like they've got a dustpan and a broom and they just clean their environment. Imagine if everyone was just walking around the planet cleaning. What sort of a space would we have? Clean. That's right, Lucia. It would be clean. But what would it be clean of? What's the possibility? What's the possibility?
Of a whole new future, because you've got nothing, kind of like you've got a clear space in front of you, so you can create anything.
Yeah. How many of you have actually had have loved to have, actually I've just realized it's 9 o'clock and you guys normally finish at about 1:45, so we've gone 15 minutes over time. I didn't even realize, and
We've
very
enjoyed
sorry.
every minute.
Hey?
We've enjoyed every minute.
Well, we're not finished yet. And so the fact of the matter is that I've got so much more that I want to share, and there is plenty more that I could go, and I could go on for probably another 5 hours. I'm not going to do that.
David?
I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to be cleaning the whole time. Yes, Alistair.
You are very welcome to take this up or something else up again, you know, even in a few weeks. We've had a few people who've presented many times, so you're very welcome to come back.
Thank you. I would love to be able to come back. Now, what I would love to do as well is to be able to share something with all of you. I'm not selling you anything because I know that's not the rules. But I'd love to be able to share a couple of processes with you that have been shared with me. Alistair helped me today create a website, believe it or not. And guess what came up in the last 2 weeks available out there in the wide world of web stuff? davidbelfer.com. I've been waiting for that address to come up for about 8 years. And today, actually the other day, I went to find, I had an email come from one of my suppliers saying davidbelfer.com.au is coming up for renewal. And I couldn't find where the fucking thing is. I don't know who's hosting it. I don't know where it's actually being held. And I sent a message to Alistair and I said, mate, where is it? And he said, host Monster. And I went to Host Monster and they don't know who I am. But they've got the thing that I think I bought 10 years ago. And it's been there for 10 years, not done anything with it. But literally 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I went online and I typed in davidbelfer.com and it came up. Somebody had it, a guy from America. Maybe he died of COVID-19. I don't know. I don't wish that on him. But if he did, thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm going to use my name. So I want to finish something off for tonight. And it's talking about enlightenment. And I love lighthouses. How many of you have ever visited a lighthouse? How many of you have ever seen a lighthouse? How many of you have never seen a lighthouse? Excellent. Now, you know what a lighthouse is, the thing that sits on the coast, and they're normally tall and white, and they look quite strong and powerful standing structures living on the coastline. What's the purpose of a lighthouse? Who can tell me?
Stop the ships crashing into the rocks.
To stop the ships crashing into the rocks. Thank you, Jerry. Who else knows what a lighthouse is there for?
To guide.
To guide. Fantastic. Thank you. Yes, that's correct, Sandra. Who else knows what a lighthouse is for?
To look for trouble coming for you.
I thought you were doing To Infinity and Beyond before.
Oh, no. Only once a night.
Only once a night you look for infinity. There you go. Thank you. That's correct as well. So all of those things. I actually have a number of these lighthouses. Can you see the lighthouse?
Yep.
Now I look at a lighthouse and I know that there's always a door at the bottom of the lighthouse. Okay. Now that door is the door to home for me. That's my home. But always heading up the lighthouse, there's lights on them. Have you ever seen, they've got these little square lights and there's a spiral staircase inside of them. Now those lights are halfway up and 3/4 of the way up, and they light the way for your family. So they know where to go. They know where to come to visit you. They know where they're going to be safe. They know where they're going to be warm. But what's at the very top of your lighthouse?
360-degree view.
Yeah. That's where you've got your reach.
Mm.
That's where you shine your light. That's the major light that you're going to spread out to the world. That's your light. That could be the healing and the cleaning that you're doing with the Ho'oponopono, that you're sharing with everybody. And you've got reach because you've got, as Lucia said, you've got 360 degrees of love to be able to be sharing. So my wish for you is that you go out and you start to spread your light as brightly as you can. But you have to start off at the bottom. You've got to go in the door for yourself and then work your way up. Invite your family and friends in to share this with your family and friends, the process of the Ho'oponopono. And you don't even have to tell them that you're doing it. That's the beauty of it. They don't need to know. And once you've worked on healing them, you can then go and heal more. So everybody, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come in and share with you. I'm looking forward to seeing the replay because I don't know what I've said. That's one of the things that occurs with me when I get on a roll. I don't know what I've shared or what I've said. So hopefully there was value in there for you. It was coming from my heart to yours. And I just want to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. That's it.
Thank you, David.
That's all it is, guys.
Let's
Thank
give
you.
him one clap.
That was one big clap for David.
Let's go. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
David.
And
Thank you, guys.
that the woman that is doing that song, is that just available on YouTube or download or?
Yep, download it on YouTube. I'll share it with you. She's on. I've got it on Spotify. I've actually got. I'll find you on it. If you want to stop recording, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. But another one of my Ho'oponopono songs on my Spotify is, where is it?